Broadchurch. Who coulda done it? Chris Chibnall, the writer of Broadchurch and showrunner of Jodie Whittaker's air on Doctor Who, loves to surprise me in his interviews, whether it be dropping the bomb about Doctor being properly cancelled by the BBC during the pandemic, or what I'm about to talk about here. I just hope he never stops revealing his hand too much in interviews because, oh boy, he drives me crazy. Makes me rework my understanding of everything I thought I knew, and comes out of it with more respect for him and more fun for me. The interview in question, the 10-year anniversary of Broadchurch as reported by Radio Times. And right what I'm laughing about, and major spoilers for season 1 of Broadchurch, you cannot come back for this knowledge, and don't make me responsible for ruining Broadchurch for you, just go watch it instead of me, please. Go now, go quick, come on. Alright, I think they're gone. And right what I'm laughing about, Olivia Colman agreeing to play Ellie Miller only if she gets to know who done it and kick them in the balls. You go, girl! My elvish eyes see this admission by Chris Chibnall. Right when I was writing the very first draft, I thought it was someone else, a different minor character. And then after I'd written that, I put the script aside, and then a week or two later, I woke up with that in my head going, oh, that makes everything make sense and become exciting, become emotional. Because the whodunit aspect was really important. But obviously, the emotional aspect of it and the emotional psychology of the show, I think, is what people responded to. And you wanted to serve all those amazing actors. God damn, give this man the time he needs to write, and he won't disappoint. Oh god, I'd probably just upset so many Whovians out there, but I don't give a fuck. I'll stand by that. Uh, that's not the point. The point is, this admission of his wormed his way into my brain, and I kinda immediately guessed which minor character he's referring to. I'm not gonna BS to and pretend it could be someone else because, in my mind, it's only this person. But for your sake, the only other two options that he could have been talking about would be the psychic and the mailman. I rule the psychic because I have watched the deleted scene where he confides in Reverend Paul Coates about his visions having left him, and how he wants them back so he knows he's not crazy. Meaning that the knowledge he has isn't from the personal experience of murdering Danny, and that he's only somewhat creepy for invading Beth Latimer's life. Ooh, I don't like it at all. The only other option is the mailman who is seen arguing with Danny on the paper route. And I rule him out simply because I like the red herring his situation offers and how realistic it would be for this kind of information to come up during an investigation and be deemed irrelevant. Because they gotta sort through all the nonsense to get to the real murderer. Especially after they discover he has a great alibi. So, yeah. Also, clearly, everything I'm going to say is pure speculation. But maybe you'll see the hint of truth in it that I do. Hopefully, if I do my job right. This isn't a job, this is a fucking hobby. God damn it. Okay. Sorry about that. So, who is this minor character that would have killed Danny if Chibnall hadn't rewritten it for the better? Trevor Smith. What a boring fucking name. Do any of you remember Trev? Because he annoys the shit out of me every time he appears. But in this broadcasted version, the actual, version of Broadchurch, not the original script that Chibnall refers to. Yeah, because we don't have the original script. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a premise for this video. I believe Trev is written to represent the average dad in the Broadchurch community, trying to make sense of the situation for his kids and aggressively protect them and etc. The reason why I think he's the original minor character who killed Danny is based off of two big scenes that I can remember, and the fact that he even has two major scenes. So, let's go through this one scene at a time. Also, feature me here. He's apparently featured in every episode of season 1 except for episode 3, so take that as you will, because I don't have the energy to look at all of the scenes. And also because I'm only going to use the ones where he has actual speaking lines, so. With that knowledge, the first time we are introduced to Trevor is in episode 1, when Mark Latimer runs into him on the way to the morgue. From the first scene, it establishes that Trevor is a big part of this small community, since he's standing on a street corner, trying to get people to sign his petition to stop some place from shutting down. Very responsible dad. Mark, in his clouded disbelief, pretends everything is normal, takes the time to sign Trevor's petition, and possibly sets up a time to watch a grudge match with Trevor at the Lion. This familiarity then establishes that Trev is familiar and friendly with the Latimer family. Given that it's also revealed in this episode that there was no sign of forced entry in the Latimer's house, the detectives are starting to suspect that someone who knew Danny kidnapped him, and then proven sort of right in that he actually snuck out to go meet someone he probably knew. So, who knew Danny and just happens to be petitioning near a morgue to see if anyone's going to identify the body that he maybe left on the beach? Trevor Smith. The other major scene that I can think of is in the second episode, where Ellie Miller steals a break to visit her family at a cafe. At least I think it's a cafe. Maybe it's a cool gymnasium. It's unclear. I just know they had to switch locations because it was raining on the playground they were going to go at, but it still looks great. So that's not the point. The point is Trevor imposes himself on their private family conversation. He asks Ellie if the police are close to sorting it, and then his wife tries to pull him away and stop his inappropriate behavior, but he goes on to ask if parents should keep the kids indoors or should be with them every second. And then his wife finally succeeds in pulling him and his daughter away from Ellie's family. Thank God. The reason I read the scene as suspicious is because it could have been written as instead of a concerned parent knowing no boundaries, it could now be read as him trying to pump Ellie for information about the case and covering his motive as concern for his own kid. Clever, clever. Speaking of his kid, he's kind of gripping her shoulders in a controlling sort of way, which, if you really want to take this theory to the next level, could show how he manipulates kids, or he has the grip strength it would have taken to show Danny. Oof, I don't like thinking that. Listen, I know that is reading into it a lot, and it sounds crazy, but in the actual opening street scene of Broadchurch, the director does a conscious nod to who the murder really is by having that character jokingly choke his own son. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There is another scene where Trevor irritates the police, and he seems to be making a habit of it now, given that his wife derisively says, "Trevor, how many times?" And that is in episode 4 when he asks the police, "What's taking them so long?" with the cleaning up the beach, finding Danny's murderer, etc., etc. Also, the nature of the scene where D.I. Hardy effectively holds a town hall to calm the committee, most close-ups are on actual suspects of the case, besides my suspect, such as Jack Marshall, Susan Wright, and Paul Coates. Not only that, but Trevor's wife then chimes in that she knows of the boat being burned to get rid of evidence for Danny's murder. She says it's due to her brother. But do we believe her? Or are we willing to stretch the truth and see that maybe Trevor got so worked up about Danny and the beach cleaning and the boat finding because of his own involvement? Does he believe putting vocal pressure on the police will get them to reveal what they have found? Or convince them that he only cares this intensely about Danny's murder due to his daughter's own safety? I think not. Or rather, I would think not, had Chibnall not rewritten it to be better. Ooh, that's a weird sentence. A lot of knots in there. Is that a double negative? Doesn't matter. Because all of these scenes can be read as being edited down or reworded once the real murder occurs to Chibnall. Honestly, we've all seen on TV how one guy being too interested in an investigation can mean something else altogether. But luckily, it's not a minor character like Trevor Smith, but a major character instead, wonderfully reworking every character's arc to hit that much harder and devastate the viewer at the end. Because had it been Trevor, I don't think the gut punch reveal would have hit at all, and I'd have written off the show as another clever Sherlock show. Nothing's wrong with clever Sherlock shows also, I just... Broadchurch is painful, and there's a reason for it. Plus, all the research shows, and as Chibnall knows due to how carefully he researched for every season of Broadchurch, thank you, man, these types of crime was often committed by someone you know, someone close. And to pretend that's not the case would be a disservice to all these in-depth characters, phenomenal pacing, and honest writing that Chibnall has set up. I'm so glad that I'm wrong in the rewrites, but I'm still furious and curious to know how the original script differed. I hope it never releases though, because the final product of Broadchurch is perfect in my mind, and I don't want to do any more mental backflips to make sense of things. Anyways, do y'all agree Trevor would have done it, or do you favor another suspect? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching Chibnall drive me crazy. Please never stop revealing things in interviews, Chibnall. Please, I beg of you. And if you guys know of any other interviews you did that made you do mental backflips, please leave them in the comments below. I love this type of thing. Anyways, many thanks to you, and it's time for my awkward exit. Bye.